Hey everyone, it's Jolie Man, and welcome to my 2019 Game of the Year discussion video. This is one of my favorite videos to make of the year. I get to talk about a bunch of great games that came out this year and just have a discussion with you guys. So if you don't know how my videos work, for Game of the Year, what I do is I have a top 5, 3 honorable mentions, and they are in alphabetical order, and then I will give my Game of the Year at the end of the video. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know. A little bit about this year as a whole. It was pretty interesting, honestly. Like the last couple of years, we've had one or two like standout games where everyone was like, yes, it's one of these games or the game of the year. And then we can just kind of discuss about everything else that was great. But, you know, this year, there wasn't really that game. It was just a lot of solid games that came out. There was quite a bit of disappointments this year. I was disappointed in a couple games, but there were still great games that came out. And with that being said, there was no standout. And that kind of reflects in the way I had to do this list. Like, because usually I write down all the games I liked this year that I would consider maybe putting in top 5 and then chop it down from there. I had 15 this year, and honestly, I could make a case for all of these games being top 5. So this was one of the most interesting and kind of hardest years for me to actually pick a game of the year, to be honest. So I'll get onto the list in a minute. Quick note, I didn't play everything this year, so if you're curious about why something did or didn't make the list, either I probably didn't play it, or I have a reason for not having it on there. So, you know, and my list and my list alone. So if you want to talk about something, you can go in the comments, let me know, and I'll have a discussion with you. And yeah, anyway, a little bit of a rambly start, but that's okay. So before I get into my top 5, I'll get into my honorable mentions, and once again, these are all in alphabetical order. First game on my list is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and right off the bat, I will say I was a backer of this game, so if you want to take that with a grain of salt, feel free to. I totally get it. But I really liked this game when it came out. It's Igarashi's return to basically Symphony of the Night. This is just Symphony of the Night again, but that's fine. It's really refined gameplay, and it has a fun loop. The castle itself is really fun to go around and explore, and I liked a lot of the enemy designs. I liked getting the powers from the enemies to use against them and just sort of building out how you want to play. That's all really fun, and yeah, it's just a really solid game. The only reasons I did not put it in my top 5 were because the story is a little weak. The characters are kind of bland, and there's just some general polish stuff. And on top of that, as I said, I am a backer, and I just didn't really feel comfortable putting it in my top 5. It probably wouldn't have made it anyway, but I am going to hold it out of top 5 for that. And yeah, that's Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. The next game on my list is River City Girls, and once again, I really, really enjoyed this game. The combat is really fun. I really enjoyed the characters. I really like the story. It's just fun and goofy. And as I said, the combat system is really fun. And it's just nice to be going around playing an old school brawler again. The only reason I held it out of top 5 is this game is solid. It is probably one of the best games of the year. My only thing about it though is I kind of had to keep reminding myself it existed. So to me that doesn't really make something game of the year material. So while this is a very solid game, I do recommend it to anybody who does like old school beat 'em ups. I am holding River City Girls out of top 5. So the final game in my honorable mentions is Samurai Shodown, and it really hurts to put it down here because I really like this game a lot. I like its gameplay. I like the high damage. All the characters are pretty fun, And yeah, it's just a solid fighting game this year. Like MK11 was technically better, but I don't know. This has a special place in my heart. I do have to put it in honorable mentions though, simply because its net play, its netcode is not that great. Like it's improved, but it's still delay based, and it's like it works here and there, but it's not great. And the matchmaking itself is bad. It's really bad. Um, but yeah, it's a great fighting game. I really like this game. And so it's unfortunate that it's in the honorable mentions, but hey, that's how it goes. And with that, that is all my honorable mentions. So now I'll get into top five. And once again, this is in alphabetical order. So the first game on my list is Concrete Genie. And man, this game is something special. I really like how easy it was to create things, and I like the wide range of things that you can create. And you can create some really, really beautiful stuff. And once again, it's just super easy to do using motion controls of all things. And the game just has a lot of charm. Story's pretty cool. It's nothing mind blowing, but it does get the job done. And uh, yeah, the characters are kind of interesting. I don't think it's its strong point, but this game just has a lot of charm, and it really took me by surprise. Like I knew I was gonna like it, but I was surprised by how much I just really love this game. The only thing that's really holding it back is the final act of the game is um, a little bit of a letdown. Kind of spoilers ish, I guess, but there is combat in the game. It comes in the final act, and it's not great. So that's really the only knock I have against it. And there's some wonky stuff here and there, but overall, it is a really great time and one of my favorites of the year. Next up in my top five is Control. And man, this game, it is so good. Yeah, it does have some frame rate issues, but they don't really get in the way of the gameplay too much. Um, I really like the world building in this game, and also I gotta say, it is so nice to finally be able to play a Remedy game on PlayStation 4. Like, it has been so long, and Remedy is just so good. So, yeah, this is just one of my favorites. And sorry, I'm just gushing. So I really like the gameplay. I like all the cool powers that you get. You can, as you can see, you can use them in a lot of different ways. My favorite is just the basic, just grab and push, basically. I didn't really use the shield a lot. The levitation's pretty cool too. But yeah, the gameplay is really fun. The main character, Jessie, she's kind of bland and the story's kind of but all the other characters around her are pretty cool and interesting, and the world that they're setting up is really awesome too. And I really wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to this game. We do have expansions coming, and that's really cool. It is kind of unfortunate though that I don't think this game actually sold all that well. I don't think it made like top 10 in the month that it came out sales wise in like any region. So, we don't know how well it sold, but we do have expansions on the way, and I would like to see a sequel because there's a lot of stuff that they could do with this universe that they set up. So hopefully we get a sequel. Hopefully we don't. Like, there's some things that they can iron out, but they have a solid foundation going into the future for a new IP with Control. The next game on my list is a Switch game, so unfortunately I don't have the stuff to actually get capture for the Switch, but it is Fire Emblem Three Houses, and man, is this game good. I didn't finish it, unfortunately. I'm like 40 hours in. I'm at the later half of part one. But it is so good. It's the best Fire Emblem to come out in years. I forget who actually made the game. It's a different team, but they made a lot of smart gameplay decisions. The triangle system, the basic one, that doesn't really exist anymore, but there is still a lot of strategy. Like, for instance, the archers still do a lot of damage to flying type units and stuff. And they introduced magic, well, okay, as far as I know, this game introduced magic. Magic could have been in another one that I don't know about, but man, it's just so good. There's a lot to think about in battles themselves. I like the whole mercenaries things. Well, not mercenaries. I forget what they're called. Battalions. Yeah, I like the battalion system a lot. And then also, like, outside of the battle, just you being a professor, and they have these sort of persona thing going on with the calendar, and you go from week to week. That's really neat. I really enjoy that. And just the story is really deep and interesting. Some of the characters are a little over the top, but that's okay. There's a lot of just good stuff. And I'm 40 hours in on my first playthrough. I really want to go through and see what all the other houses are about. And yeah, just Fire Emblem Three Houses is just a really good game. The penultimate entry in my top 5 is The Outer Worlds, and man, is this game really good. Obsidian really delivered. It's exactly the game I wanted. I like the combat. It's a lot more fluid. I like that guns actually feel responsive in this one. They did a neat thing with, it's not VATS, but it's kind of like VATS. I like how it works, and the writing is just so good. Everything is just gray, and like it makes you have to consider a lot of interesting choices. A lot of the characters are very well done and very well written, and the game is just gorgeous. And I actually appreciate that it's only 30 hours. I really only played this game once. It was for my 24-hour stream that only lasted like 20 hours. But as far as I remember, I heard the game can be completed in about 30. And honestly, to me, that's way more of an enticing offer, simply because it makes me want to go back and replay the game. Because, I like my 100-hour RPGs as much as anybody else. But the thing is, time. And something being 30 hours, I'm a lot more likely to go back and play a 30-hour solid RPG than a 100-hour RPG that might still be great. But let's be honest, a lot of them do have a lot of fluff. The only other game that I can think of that is like over 100 hours and is like pretty solid all the way through is The Witcher 3. So I'm off on a side tangent. Outer Worlds, really, really good. It's easily one of the best games this year. And the final game on my top 5 is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. This game is really good. It is technically the easiest game that From Software has put out, but the combat is still pretty challenging. I like that it's very fast-paced. I like the parry system a lot. I'm usually not somebody who likes to go for a lot of parries, but it just works really well in this game. You kind of have to, the way it's built. And I like stealth games a lot, and this one just really scratched that itch. I also really like the story. It still has a lot of that From Software flavor of just being a really depressing world, basically. But it's more of a personal story. There's more characterization for, all the characters. And yeah, it's something really cool. And I just really like the game a lot. It was a fun playthrough on Twitch. And yeah, the only thing that's a little bit of a bummer is I was kind of hoping for just a little bit more customization. Like, I get why they didn't, but it would have been cool to have, like, maybe just different outfits or something. But yeah, Sekiro just does a lot right. Oh yeah, one other thing that is kind of a little bit of a bummer. I know this is a top 5, but I should be praising the game. One thing I kind of didn't like was that there's sort of an imbalance with your prosthetic powers. Like, firecrackers are just way too good. But other than that, great music, great boss battles, great characters, super solid gameplay as you would expect. And I don't know if there will ever be a sequel. I don't think I would mind seeing a sequel, but I could kind of see them just sort of leaving this where it is and just moving on. And I'm also really curious for what they're going to do with Elden Ring. So, yeah, besides that, just I really like Sekiro a lot. And with all that being said, it's time for me to finally just tell you what my game of the year is. And honestly, this year was really hard to choose. Because, as I said at the beginning, there was no real standout. So I could honestly make a case for all of my top five. But I think I'm going to just go with Fire Emblem Three Houses. The deciding factor for Fire Emblem is that it's just sticking with me more. Like, recording, like going back to record all these games to get the footage. I also use it as a chance to kind of remind myself, because I haven't played some of these games in a few months. Just kind of remind myself, like, how they played, just sort of what I remember, what I liked, what I didn't like, and just going back to, just feel how they play. And honestly, I was thinking about Control, maybe giving Control my game of the year. But as I said, Fire Emblem is just sticking with me more. And even though each playthrough is about 70-ish hours, I really wouldn't mind playing through. There's technically 4, actually. There are 4 playthroughs to go through. So, yeah. I think I'm very comfortable with saying Fire Emblem Three Houses is my personal game of the year. But as I said before, this is my personal list. And this year's super interesting, and I would really like to hear everyone's thought process on their game of the years. So let me know in the comments below what your game of the year is. If you want to ask me about a game maybe that I didn't have on this list, I'll talk about that a little bit below with you. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Quick channel update. I am going to be going on break next week for the holidays, for Christmas. I'm still going to call it holidays. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I went on that side tangent. But, yeah, I'm not going to be streaming. Usually I don't put out a video either, but I think I am going to have a couple videos. I think it's just going to be another re-uploaded stream. And I'm going to leave you with a review at the end of the year, too. Because I didn't do a review last month, so I do want to leave you with a review in December. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So no Twitch streams next week, and maybe the week after. I'm still debating on that. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you liked what you've seen, you can go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'm forgetting my outro. If you like, there it is. If you like what you've seen, you can go ahead and like this video, share with your friends, subscribe to my channel for more game reviews, streams, and all good gaming stuff. There's the outro. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.